Good evening, White Sapphire and Richard. How are you all doing? Hope you're keeping well out there. How is life treating you all? Hope it's treating you well. We're far watching with no thumbs up, but sure, we'll see how we get on. As you know, it's been quite a while since I've been on. Incredibly busy at the minute with various things. Good, glad to hear. Two watching now with 2 thumbs up. What's this bug teddy on the bench? Bug teddy. It has been a while indeed between one thing and another. I'm just not getting a chance at the minute. Not getting a chance at all, but I just said I'd come out here and see what's going on. That's the Bush AA23 I did several videos on some time ago. We still haven't got around to finishing it off yet. But we will. We will in the near future, I should hope. Yeah. No, because we need to get that off the bench to get other things on the bench. Lots of interesting things. Just need time. I'm also working on an exciting project in the background at the minute, which is also taking up a little bit of free time that I have. But should be fun. We've 5 watching with 4 thumbs up. Super duper. Let's see if anyone else comes in. Just an off the cuff live stream on a Saturday night, but we will see. The whole idea is you can't see what's hiding in the shadows, obviously. Yeah, you don't want you knowing too much. Light in the corner. No. You'll be able to see stuff then. Lately, I did get a few minutes here and there. I've been messing around with this modulator unit I got, which has HDMI input, which I have hooked up to a Roku box, which I find is working very well. So yeah, maybe we'll turn on the Bush TV and hook this up to it and just see what happens. Yeah, that'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? We'll see how we get on. So I hope you all out there are keeping well. Is anyone working on any interesting projects at the minute? The little Roku box. Now, let me plug this little chap in. My plan is to add a USB socket onto the power supply on this. Plenty of space for it. So it just saves having to use an extra socket, wall wart, etc. for the Roku box. It can be all kind of self-contained. We'll go for gold and see what happens. Now, I must say that the picture on this Bush TV is pretty bad at the minute. Hasn't been, no setting up has been done yet. So, yeah. Convergence, etc. is pretty rudimentary. And I've never seen a good picture on one of these yet, anyway. Even ones that had tip-top CRTs and hadn't been twiddled and whatnot. Now, what we should do is, what should we do? Maybe we'll turn this light on, because it's behind the CRT. We'll turn this light off. Can we help? Oh yeah. Now, to figure out where the Roku box is at, one has to interpret a very long list of channels. White says, hey, it'll be Christmas in 6 months. It sure will. Off the hospital on Monday. Well, the best of luck with that. We hope that all works out well for you. And you've got to get the tractor up and running. I need to get the car prepped for its MOT. That's to keep you busy there, so. I wonder if Michael will be on. Yeah, I haven't been talking to Michael actually since the show. I must get in touch with him. Channel 61 is E25. Well, let's see where we are. No, let's see. 61 is channel 97. Let's try band 1. C1. C1 3. It's channel E3. Right, we'll go with that. Band 1, 55 meg. Band 1. Oh, I think I stuck it in the wrong hole, but that's it. We must be in the UHF tracker. Well, we are, because we thought we were going to use UHF. Oh, yeah. No colour. Colour, please. There we go. Roku box. So now, what can I do now? We can you haven't quite mastered it with this phone. I have another Roku box I use in the house and it works very well. Let's go to YouTube. Interesting man on YouTube. We know who he is. There's Michael Tranville's video there. There we go. We'll watch Michael. Can we hear him?
14-inch portable TV. This could have been the best-selling TV of the 1990s. And the reason it was one of the best-selling TVs is because it was so cheap. Now, this is actually a stage show, and I can turn around to the back.
Should I brew up a cup of tea or break out for a can of cider? Go for the can of cider. I'm having a little sup of whiskey here.
An identical one
So I'm getting to watch this now as well. I haven't seen this yet.
1420A off the top of my head, which was exactly the same tally, but one brand was sold by Dixon's and one brand was sold by Curry's. And one of these was actually £10 dearer than the other, even though we were buying exactly the same set with a different name on the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search out for the service manual first, and then we'll just take the back off and have a quick look inside. Right, so I actually found that quicker than what I thought. Let's take a quick look through here. We've got handwritten notes on the front. I've also got, see, this is when Curry's and Dixon's used to be Mastercare service. They used to supply spare parts, and as a dealer, you could order spare parts and do things yourself. But you won't get any parts from Dixon's or Curry's now. That's all gone. So let's just have a look here. That's 1455. Yeah, that's the one there. CT141X. So it was the same as the Matsui 1420. Let's just put that to one side. Let's have a quick look here. See what else I've got. Triumph. I don't know what that one is. Oh, another Matsui. What's the date on that? 1987. So the telly we're looking at, it could be earlier than the 90s. I can't remember now. It's such a long time ago. Video recorder. Canary video. Matsui video player. More Hinari. Hinari VXL5. Some handwritten notes here. As you can see, my spelling's not that good, never has been. Right, so we've actually got the service manual that we need to look at this set. Now, what do I remember about this set? Well, the most common fault was a power supply IC. I think it was an STR. Was it STR 50103A? And that used to go short circuit, and it used to take out, I think it was a 5.6 ohm resistor, and the fuse never actually blew. It always blew the resistor. And we had a standing joke in the trade. What is the resistor actually for? Well, it was there to protect the fuse and stop the fuse blowing. Right, so let's have a look here. As you can see, it also comes a Matsui 1420A. We've got parts listings. Every part was available as a spare part, unlike today. Let's just have a look there. Oh, part numbers of PCB, technical training. That's another thing you don't see these days.
There the honour is here. How are you doing?
Let's just get to the diagram.
Hope you're keeping well.
Cabinet parts, you see all available. Every single nut, bolt and screw was available as a spare part. Right, so we're coming to the diagram here. Oh look, more handwritten notes. Right, let's have a quick look at the power supply. Right, so that's the signals and IF and tube base. The power supply is actually on this other page here. Got some more handwritten notes there. See, I've forgotten about that. There was an SR2 avalanche diode. That used to go as well. Now, interesting enough, it says here the switching regulators STR451. I think they could be fitted with different variants, and it does say there or equivalent, because the one I clearly remembered was STR 50103A, which was made by a Sanken 5-pin device. This STR451 is a TO3 3-pin device. But if we look at the very simple power supply, that's a chopper transistor there, one rectifier. That's the input bridge. And if you look, there's 5.6 ohm resistors. Yes, I've got that right. And that was there to protect this fuse and stop this fuse blowing, because the fuse never ever blew. Right, Right, so I think the best thing we can do now is get the back.
Jim Simpson is here and Paddy Bourne is here. How are you doing, lads? We're watching a Michael Dranfield video on the television here. For the crack.
Right, now this supplement's just dropped out. And if we look, it's the same set, but this is fitted with STR 50103A. So we could have either one fitted and we don't know till we get the back off. But I seem to remember though, these were such a regular failure. I've got it in my head that at one time they were supplied with a different heatsink compound. I'm sure they were supplied with a blue heatsink compound. And they tried to say that was the reason for the failure, because you needed a special heatsink compound. But of course, it actually did nothing at all. It was nothing more than a gimmick. It was actually the Sanken device that had a problem. Right, so take a look at the back. You've got an isolated aerial socket, which incidentally I've just noticed the middle pin's broke. You've only got a headphone socket, no SCART, no AVs. I don't think SCART was invented actually when this set came out, but just 4 screws to take the back off and then we'll have a look. Right, so that's the back unscrewed. I'll just mention, I think most of these cheap sets back in the day originated from the Orion factory, which you'll see when we get the back off. The Orion made for lots of different people. Amstrad was another one they made for. But I will just mention, if you look at this, this is the proper service manual for Mastercard.
Tony James, welcome aboard the chat. We're watching a Michael Dranfield video here at the minute.
It's like they only had one service manual, and they were running copies off to order. People ordered them. But if you look at that, the photocopying is actually very, very poor. And some of these diagrams are a little bit difficult to read. But anyway, let's get the back off. So the first thing is to pull that. We've got to unplug the aerial wire from the tuner, which is down there. Right, so that's the back off view. What we need to do is unplug the speaker there. Very, very tight. And then we're going to slide out the chassis. But first, before we take out the chassis, because I can't just see yet what kind of power supply AC it's fitted with, let's talk about something that is really, really important. That's the Orion tube. And you need to attend to this before you even think about plugging one of these in. And we're talking about these wedges.
I don't see why not, white sapphire.
Purity. What you need to do is you need to check that rubber, and if it's gone hard like that, you've got to take these out and cover them with some tape and put them back in. And the reason for that, I think there's 3 wedges. There should be one. Yeah, it's one under there and one there. These over time underwent a chemical change and they become hygroscopic. They absorb moisture. And because this is in contact, that's the frame scan, the line scan is on the middle. These rubbers are in contact with the line scan coils. And what happens, because these absorb moisture, you've got moisture sitting on your coil windings, and you'll end up with shorter turns in the coils, and then it's completely ruined unless you've got another set of scan coils. There's a very, very common fault back in its day. In fact, I actually wrote an article in Television Magazine about it. And if we zoom in there, you can see where the scan coil, the rubber wedge, actually touches on this metal frame of the scan assembly, and we can see rust appearing there. But these are hard as rock. They've got a shiny, wet appearance to them. So we're definitely going to have to take them out before we even plug it in, because you could end up...
Kev B is here. Good evening, Kev B. We're watching Michael Dranfield on the box.
Powering it up. Now, just to prove the point, what I'm telling you about, let's take an old meter and let's
Brilliant.
Let's put another prod, if I can do this with one hand, there. And look at that, we've got electrically conductive path in the rubber. So if I move to a different place, let's move to there. So that rubber is a time bomb ticking away. So before we plug this in, I'm going to take these out. If you take them out one by one, you'll have minimal purity or convergence adjustment when you come to put them back. Right, now that's the offending rubber out, or one of them at least. If we take a good look at this,
yeah, interesting on the wedges there, alright.
There's moisture sitting on the surface.
Good evening, Brian.
And that is caused by the rubber going hygroscopic. Now that is, at one time, if I'd scrapped an old telly, I used to always keep these rubbers. But when I ran out of rubbers, I just used to wrap them with some PVC insulation tape and fit these back in. But what you don't want is you don't want that rubber in contact with the scan coil because it eats through the enamel.
Wonder would a piece of heat shrink tube and be even better than the PVC
like
tape.
Distortion on the picture. But you can see there, let's just give it a wipe with my finger. Yeah, moisture, right, so they've got to be out. Now, of course, I don't have any of these rubber wedges anymore, but back in the 90s when I run out of them, what I used to do is I used to wrap them with some black insulation tape and just fit them back in, because as long as the absorbing surface doesn't come into contact with the line scan.
Yeah, Kev B, that could work too, alright, yeah. Clean them all off with some isopropyl and spray them.
Never had a comeback.
Fire 64, good evening, sir.
What I used to do, take a bit of black insulation tape, put your rubber on it, and we need to be covering up the side.
Alan Hurst as well here. Good evening, Alan.
With a scan coil, which is this surface here. So I'll put that on there, face down like that. Right, like that, and that is the surface that touches the line scan. So you can just see, you just put a bit of tape around it, and now you just wedge it back in. It's got to be exactly the same place. Otherwise, we'll alter the purity and the convergence, but we can sort that out when they're all done. Or when the set comes on, we can sort that last. Now, these, of course, will need adjusting, because what they do is they tilt this yoke. So once you've adjusted them, you put a dab of silicone on and you put some tape over there to hold it in the final position. But just for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to leave them loose. So now we've just got the other two to do, this one and the one under here. That's the other one out. As you can see, that is also wet, just there. Right, so with that attended to, all we need to do now is pull off these knobs, and then there's one single screw inside, and the chassis should slide out, and the screw is right down there at the front. Right, so that's the chassis out.
I did, Kev. I got a Bush TV 22, which I'll do a video on in the near future. It is in working order of sorts.
You've got your isolation components there in the aerial socket. So always remember that. I mean, it doesn't matter to me because I'm working here with an isolation transformer on these benches. So I can plug an aerial straight in there. But if you're doing this at home, you must use the aerial isolator or an isolation transformer. But let's take, I mean, don't forget, back in the days, things like this were considered to be crap. But if you actually look at the construction, it's very, very nice. That is your line output transistor there. 2SD 1397. That appears to be the original line output transformer. Let's have a look what chip we've got. So we do have the STR 50103. Now I wonder by the amount of heatsink compound on there if somebody's already changed that. Let's have a look. That is a 5.6 ohm resistor, which I pointed out is there to protect this fuse and stop the fuse from being damaged when the STR goes short circuit. Well, that's what we used to say in the trade anyway. That's the 2-pin degaussing resistor. I've no doubt all these controls have been noisy, but you can just spray a bit of cleaner in. Likewise, the channel change will be noisy. Let's just run over here, and then we'll take a look at the other side.
It's an Ultra.
Let's see if anything's been done.
We haven't done anything with that yet. Someone painted it red at some stage, but as they lived in look, which we like.
I mean, it might even work. I don't actually know.
A T401.
That's a little chopper transformer there, and the main HT reservoir capacity. That's a frame output. What will that be? UPC 1378 off the top of my head. Yeah, UPC 1378H. Most of these parts I'll still have in stock. So let's flip it over. That's where the scan coil plugs in there. Let's flip it over and have a look. Anybody done any work on this? In fact, it tells you there, look, warning, live chassis. Oh, let's have a quick look at the tube base, red, green, blue output.
Yeah, it has flyback lines, alright. There's a blanking fault on it as well, which I'll have to get to the bottom of.
Right, so it's very nice looking underneath. I can't see any work at all been done.
No, not in the original colours. It would have been brown. The white is correct.
But
would have been white and brown.
First, and I'm going to check that 5.6 ohm resistor. The avalanche.
The knobs aren't right either. They're off a cosser.
Points to you definitely have to change the STR. But apart from that, it's all in good condition. The only area of interest I can see concerns the line driver transformer, which is there. It's a very good idea to solder them, and also the collector feed resistor to the transistor. That gets very hot, as you can see, and it does appear to be dry jointed. So I'm just going to
we might get to it. We'll see.
Dry joints and the transformer for good measure. I might even solder the frame output IC. And there's a little 3-terminal regulator there. Just solder that for good measure. And then I think we might just go straight to the plug-in and see what happens. Right, so that there is the line driver transformer we're going to be resoldering. That's the line driver transistor, the collector feed resistors. Them two transistors there, those are the sound output feeding this little transformer. Did that move when I touched it? No, but I think I'm going to resolder it anyway. Right, so the surge limiting resistor's okay. That measures all right. The avalanche diode is that funny little copper.
I like the sound of that, Kev B. I wish they'd do that here.
2M, I think is its number, which is basically just 140 volts and a diode, which is just meant to go short circuit in the event of the output rail rising above 140 volts. I think from memory the HT rail on these should be about 112 volt, but we'll check that in the manual. I'll just check the diode next. The resistor's okay. Just check that diode, then we'll go for the plug-in, see what happens. Right, so that's just resoldered the line driver transformer, the collector feed resistor. I think we're all good to go now. In fact, what I'll do, just in case it does come on, I'll give a quick squirt in these pots for some service hole.
Got a 15 ohm 300 watt wire wound today for £3.60. That's some resistor. In the Amazon return shop. We'll do for a load testing PSUs, which sure will.
And then we'll put the chassis back
That's amazing. I wish I had one of them near me. There's none of those here.
Just because it's a little dirty. Right, so that's it. We're nearly ready to go. Unfortunately, the tuning door's missing, but I might come across one day. That there's the automatic frequency control manual on and off switch. I can't remember whether that's manual or it's operated actually by the door. I think it's manual rather than door operated, because when you push it in, it stays in. If you look there, we've got a position for video recorder. So let's just make sure the volume's not too high. Let's just go straight to the switch on now and see what happens. I think what I'll do is I'll turn it on there, and then I'll fire it up here. And I'll just stand back. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Bang.
Well, that's a good sign. It's lit up. Oh, we've got a roster. And we've got a sound. Right, so we have a working set. But just let me show you this for those who don't know. I know to most people this will be obvious. To some people it won't. Before we connect it up to a signal, I'm just going to unscrew that. That's it, just take the aerial isolator. Back in the day when I used to repair these, I just used one of these from a scrap set. I never bothered unscrewing them from the telly. And unless you've got an isolated transformer, you must do this for safety, otherwise you'll blow the setup. Plug into there, and then we can plug the aerial into there. Right, let's get a signal source to this then. Right, so that's it. I've connected the aerial to a skybox. We'll switch on, probably select position 1 and tune it. Oh, it's already tuned in. They're all going to be loaded late. They've got a little bit of preview. Right, so position number 1's tuned into a skybox. The output of the skybox is channel 36. No, not 36. The output of the skybox is channel 68, which they all came as standard set channel 68 in the RF modulator. So that's a pretty good indication that somebody has already used this with a skybox. I don't know when the last time this was on. We turn the colour down, it's a bit green, so we need to adjust the grayscale. Yeah, you can see it's green there. That's brightness, contrast, cracking picture. But you know, the condition it's in inside, I would have expected that really. So let's just adjust that grayscale and get it back to a black and white picture. Right, so just turn the skybox onto colour bars. There we go. And you can see now it's a bit green. Right, just turn the volume down. Now, there is, of course, no adjustment for the green. So we're just going to lift the blue to compensate and get that back to a black and white picture. So that is green. We can make it blue. And that is probably as good as it gets. It still might look a little bit blue on the camera, but we've actually got a black and white picture now. Let's put the skybox back to colour bars. Not colour bars, back to the picture. Lift the colour up. That's better. Focusing's pin sharp. Yeah, a very, very nice set, that. And as you can see, the rubber wedges haven't done any damage to the scan coils. Right, so just one last job to do. I might have mentioned the scan coil wedges. They actually alter the purity. So what we need to do is we need to put it on a red background and make sure there's no purity errors in the picture. So here we go. And if you look at that, ignoring the black band coming from the camera, the purity is absolutely spot on. If it wasn't, we'd have like different coloured patches other than red in certain places. So we've actually got the wedges back in exactly the right place, and they're just ready to be glued back in place now, so they don't move.
Well done, Michael.
Actually, a little bit over-exaggerated, but for those who don't know, when you alter the wedges, if you look at that, we've got purity error there. We haven't got red, we've got a different colour, but that's well over-exaggerated. In fact, I've just remembered, I'll just mention this, something else. I've just remembered from back in this day, there were a couple of 330k resistors that used to make the set go dead with no other faults. Let's have a look. Oh, there they are. So they come straight off the reservoir capacitor and then straight into that chip. We used to call them the startup resistors. They were always going open circuit. But, I mean, look at that. What a set that is. Let's just see if we got a better channel to look at. Oh, actually, it's not too bad now.
Here's the Chief Mosley winning again at this Royal Meeting, number 4 for him.
Right, that's enough of poor Michael's video. Well, he's finished now anyway, near enough. What else is on?
Cleaning the floor on your hands and knees.
Bloody ads, that's what's on. Fucking YouTube. Right, we'll turn him down. We'll leave him play away. So that's the Rocco box with the modulator. Very useful box, that actually. Now, Patrick Bourne says he knows I'm from Dublin. He's wrong. And he can't fix televisions. But they were something in the good old days. They sure were. YouTube is via the Rocco box, Kevin. I don't know. Yeah, I think he came in after that. Rocco. And modulator. Super box, this. Really impressed with this. With built-in HDMI converter. So, as I was just saying before you came into the chat, no, I'm not from Waterford. I'm going to put a USB socket on the power supply on this, so the Rocco box can be powered off it. Looking inside it, there's plenty of headroom with the power supply to power the Rocco as well. So yeah, that's it. That's that, Kev B. They're just a super little box. Keep a look in your shop, you might get a Rocco box in there. It wasn't much. This one, I've got 2 of the earlier Rocco boxes, one that I use in the house, and I'll probably swap it with this one. This one's actually a 4K one, and it was €50. But yeah, there's no point having a 4K one hooked up to this, really. So I'll probably swap it with the one I have in the house. But I find them really handy. Especially with the phone and that, you know. So yeah, they're the way forward. We don't actually have an Orion in the house anymore. We don't watch terrestrial television. And I got halfway through installing a satellite dish for the shed and lost interest. It's not on the telly anymore, you know. Rob's radio channel is here. Good evening, Rob. I hope you're keeping well. How are you doing? Yeah. Good to have you in the chat, Rob. Right, little radio. White Sapphire said that we're going to look at this tonight. And we're not. Oh, go on. I think we'll give it a shot, will we? I'm not going to get heavily involved in anything tonight because I'm far too tired, to be honest with you. But we'll try and run it up in the Verdiac and see what happens. I'm just looking. Where's the rectifier? That's the rectifier valve. It's a UU6. Ah, yeah, we got a pin PEN45DD. So that's doing detector diode and output. So it's probably a short superhead then, isn't it? Ultra T401. I kind of like the red paint. It won't be. In fact, cosmetically, I wouldn't touch that at all. That has the lived-in look. Where is... You sound like my friend lives in Cork. No, not from Crown. Cork. Oh, it's a secret, Pat. It's a secret. Sadie is here. Well, good evening. Don't know where around he is. Probably Saturday night. He's probably out enjoying himself. So someone tape this up. Was there a tape bomb here? I'd say there was. Oh yeah, that looks good. Cloth covered rubber nonsense. Oh, yeah, we're gonna give that a shot. Right, we'll put the tap on the 240 to 260 volt setting. No messing here. I never did get around to building that lamp limiter. Where is my safe block? Now let's bring ye transformer down here. We won't start at 270 volts input, will we? That would be a great idea. We will start. Plug that in anyway, first off. The old safe block is one of the greatest things you could ever get your hands on for stuff like this. Right, where's the main switch? Wave change. Main switch on. Right, hasn't been touched in years. Tell me now in the chat, will this Ultra T401 work or not work? Will it try to do anything or will it not try to do anything? Place your bets. Betting ends. Right, it's switched on. It is now. Right. A piano block. You and me too. The radio definitely look better with the lights off. Most things do though, don't they? Right, we're switched on. We're on. Let's just go to 100 volts. Yeah, 105. Alan Hoare says, smoke. Rob says, at my home. Let's see. I don't even know if we're going to get that far. You know, valve heaters like me yet, anyway. The main switch was off, and that's always bad. And one piece of advice if I could give any of you out there, it's too late to be betting now, Brian, is that if you have collect radios, televisions, etc., leave the switches in the on position if you're leaving them lying up for any length of time, because when they're closed, the contacts can't oxidize. And that's one of the problems you get with a lot of radios and things. If they've been left switched off, the contacts have been open, and then you get 50 years of air and duct go in between, and they won't make contact then. Yeah, 105 volts, nothing happening. That I can see, we'll go up to 150 odd. Yeah. And we'd be expecting to see, a dial lamp trying to light if the dial lamp isn't blowing. Or some sort of the heaters are lighting. The dial lamp is lighting. It's going to do something. But what's it going to do? I know this isn't very good. You can't really see what I'm doing. This is the problem I have with doing stuff on the live stream, is you can't see what's going on. But if we turn the lights off, can we see the dial light up? There you go. You see the dial lighting up? Isn't that nice? Isn't that? Yeah. Can we hear that? No sound. Let's do the old finger. And the output amp's working. Hear that? Not very well though. Of course, we don't know what the HT is. We're at 150 volts on the highest setting, so it's being quite underrun. I've just purchased one of these from a traction engine rally. Mine is brown. This is supposed to be brown, but someone decided to spray paint the cabinet red, which I actually kind of like. So I won't be doing anything at all with this, only making it work properly. Yeah, I think that'll do well enough. Just while we're waiting for that to do its thing, I'm going to leave it sitting there for a minute to kind of think about life. After waiting it up after God knows how long. I want you to have a look at this and see what you think, right? If it was the 1960s or 70s and you dropped and smashed a very expensive transistor radio, what would you have done? Well, someone obviously at some stage had that problem. And I was recently given a job lot of very, very cheap, very, very nasty transistor radios. And in among them was this. Glue, says Kev. Yeah, no. You'd make a teeny weeny wooden cabinet for it, wouldn't you? Oh, that way. Isn't that something else? The telly picture isn't slowly fading away. It's because the video that it's showing is crap off YouTube, and the bright light on is making it seem darker than it is. Yeah, what do you think of that? Isn't that something else? I thought that was good. Me, as I said, it doesn't work. And I'm not going to bother trying to make it work. But yeah, it fell and took a tumble, a large tumble, and they made this little tiny wooden cabinet for it and cut out the side for the get at the controls. And look at that. Isn't that special? I thought that was quite good. It's the sort of thing I'd usually throw out, but I thought that was worth keeping. They went to such an effort to save it. I thought it should continue to be saved. Yeah. So I intend to keep that and display it. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Anyway, back to the Ultra. 150 volts. Let's go. 220-ish. So we'll be still underrunning that bit. Let's see, does she really wake up? And then we'll see if we can get a radio station on her. Needless to say, this is not the approved approach to vintage radio, waking up and so forth. Well, I'm not too concerned with that. We'll get a bit louder. You can hear that. Ho ho ho! That sounds promising. Let's plug out the phone charger there. Right, an aerial and an earth. Now, you know what? I was talking to someone at the show that said there must be something special about your bench. Anything at all in that shed you plug in fucking works. And that's not true. But I do tend to be lucky. But I think couple of things. Now, to tell you, when you're waking something up, you have to reform the caps, and this takes a matter of days. It doesn't. It takes a couple of minutes. Just run them up slowly on the variac like that. The rectifier valve will act as a current limiting device when it's under run. So, and I find if the electrolytic caps don't come up 5-10 minutes, they're fucked. All right. It doesn't take days and special machines and stuff. That's one thing. And the other is dryness. Dampness is key. If it's wet, you're probably going to run into trouble. This has been sitting in here for the best part of a month, if not more. I'd say 2 months actually now at this stage. And we keep the humidity pretty low in here. Well, as low as we can. It's 50% at the minute. But it's always under 60, which is, it's fairly low for Ireland. And yeah, that helps a lot. I need a wire long enough to reach from here to there. So we'll see how we get on. Someone's ringing me there at a very inopportune moment. I'm going to take this call for a second. Now, I think I'm back on there. Yeah, it was essential that I take that phone call, so I do apologise. But no, it wasn't. It's not me calling John. You're safe. You should give me Ray has my number. He should give us a ring someday, and we'll do a live interview on the live with Ray Bourne, CB Radio Extraordinaire. That'd be interesting, actually. What a hand, taking a call on the live. There you go. I'll tell you, the man I was talking to there has absolutely no interest in radios, TVs, or otherwise. That's one of the vintage bus brigade. Anyway, where was I? I get back to where I am. Yes, ultra radio, 223 volts in, made a noise, and I was looking for leads long enough to get from there, the aerial socket, to here, the radio. So let's see if we can do this. And we have televisions and rocket boxes and all sorts of shit on, so that's not going to help our cause. But if we can hear our radio station on it, we'll call it a success, and we'll leave it at that for now. Does that sound good? We hope so. Right. Yes. That there. And this here. We've no earth either, so that doesn't help cut down on the massive amounts of noise and shit in here. Turn this light off. That makes a lot of interference. We'll turn it. That's a success. We're on medium wave. It's 5 live or something. Let's turn the wick up another bit. Oh yeah, it's really coming up now. We'll go to 250. Oh, it doesn't like that. It's turning off. Lots of whistles. We have a bit of IF instability here. Tell you what, we'll try and get an earth onto it as well. That should help massively. There we go. Oh, that really showed up, didn't it? That's why I always tell people the importance of having a good earth connected to a radio. Hear the difference in that straight away? Good earth system, good grounding system, takes all that shit interference away. Right. Sounds a bit distorted. Let's go up another little bit because we're still under running it. 255 or so will be about in the middle of where I have the mains tap set. We're on the 250 to 60 volt setting. Right. Definitely an IF instability there, but now that could be any number of things. It could be the IF valve, the metallic coating, the ground could be gone on that. Wrap them up with a bit of tin foil, ground it to the chassis. You're good to go. So that will need to be looked at. You know, I always wanted one of these little ultra radios. There used to be one in a cabinet in the pub we used to drink in years ago. And the pub closed down, and I don't know what happened to the little radio. Probably got thrown in a skip. We'll try long wave, see if we can get radio 4. That's radio 4.
Very low level risk that exists and the differences between cheese and milk.
That's weird. The interference got worse when I plugged the TV out. Right, we'll go for shortwave and see if we can get some Chinese music. $30 meters, 25. Let's go 40 meters. $49 meters. No, not gonna happen. Too much crap plugged in tonight. That could be the makings of Chinese music there, but yeah. Right, we'll leave it at that, I think. Last thing I'll do is I'll turn off the light so you can see how nice the dial glow is. Isn't that lovely? That's a nice little radio. Well worth saving, that one. Excuse me. I never fail to be amazed at how well these work. You know, they just wake up. Now, we won't run it for extended periods of time till we get into it and have a proper look at it, but I think we've proved a couple of points there, for sure. That's why I always say to people, when they're restoring a valve radio, before they do anything, a lot of people say, don't plug it in. Don't plug it in. You'll kill it. Well, that's true if you don't know what you're doing. But in this control scenario with a Verdiac, and say you're into restoring radios, run the radio up first before you do anything. You find out straight away, 2-minute run up, nice and slow, like that. Get it up. We know from this little test here, before we restore the radio, or make necessary repairs to it for its long-term reliability, that the mains transformer is okay, the output transformer is okay, the output valve is okay. They're the 3 expensive things that could be showstoppers. Why would you not find that out before you spend however much money and 10 or 15 or 20 hours of your time figuring out, doing everything and then plugging it in to find out that, that your output transformer is gone. It's going to be 100 quid. So you find out these things first. Same with televisions. You always try a TV before you go in there, because the TV will tell you what's wrong with it. Radio will tell you what's wrong with it. We know it has an IF fault. We know the sound is a bit low on it, so we're going to have to look at caps and stuff. But yeah. Ultra T401. There you go. They don't make them like that anymore. God knows when that was last run up. I'd say quite a long time ago. And certainly worth doing. Definitely. Right, so that's that. I'll put that down on the ground here. I'll turn off this big bright light. I'll turn on our little light again. There we go. That'll do. I'm going to sit down for a minute now. Have a little rest after all that. And I will Rob says, shame got rid of RT252. Absolutely. TV would be causing a certain amount of interference for sure. Wouldn't help. Jim Gordon says that's what he calls a real valve radio. I agree. Jerry BVR, good to have you aboard, sir. How are you? Old stuff won't die. Tony James says he can ping me a service manual for the 401. Thanks very much, James. I probably have it. I have the full selection of red books, so I probably have it covered in there. But thank you very much. Rob is here as well. Good evening, Rob. Peter Joyce inquires, do I ever do anything with CB radio? Short answer, no. Long answer, yes. I'm an amateur radio person. I have an amateur radio license, I should say. I rarely go on. I haven't been on in a long time. I go on 2 meters the odd time. But to answer your question, though, what I want with CB radio, I was actually doing something with CB radio earlier on. I didn't know all I was doing was I was listening. So I dug this out. Well, I dug the two of them out, right? So here we have a Midland. Oh, Ray Bourne's going to get all excited. Well, probably not. He's an SSB man, I'm sure. Midland 100M, which I dug out recently to see did it work or not. And we were getting a little bit of skip from the States, the AM screaming, shouting lads earlier on. Quite loud though, not very strong. So that works. And then I have this AM FM Comtron 4 as well, which I think are made by the same company because everything's in the same place as that one. So I don't know. Ray Bourne's the expert. Do I know much about CB radio? No, I'll be talking to me how I don't understand it at all. Ray Bourne and George Donaldson are the people in this forum for CB radio. But yeah. So I was doing something with CB radio today. I was having a little listen. I just ran them up on the power supply. And well, the Comtron actually isn't working. I need to look at that. But the other one, the little Midland 100M, is working. And then I had another one. Well, actually, they weren't the reason why I was doing something with CB. I have another CB, which I was looking at. And where did I put it? Did I put it down there? Did I put it in here? Oh, far too much crap in here at the minute. Some stuff out of another shed had to come in here. And that is the reason for the massive disorganisation. Due to other stuff that's going on here at the minute, which we'll get into in the near future, but don't want to say that at the minute. But I am working on an exciting project, especially exciting for people who are in Ireland. Peter Joyce inquires, do I do anything with mesh-tastic? No, but I've heard of it, which is probably as good as it's going to get for me because, no, I'm not into any of that computery stuff for that. But I heard it's good and all. Ultra low power, high frequency text messaging on your phone or whatever. So it sounds exciting. But, not something I'd be interested in. Oh yeah, real old school. Where's Ray Bourne? Ray Bourne's probably got sick of me and gone to bed, and then he's missed the best bit. Audio Vox 23 channel, old school. 23 channels of pure gold. AM. This is working. Well, when I say it's working, it's receiving. I don't know if it's transmitting or not. I didn't get that far. But that's got to be a collector item of some description. One of the real nice ones I have is I have in there somewhere. You can't see on camera. I have a Lafayette Telstar 1240. 40 channel AM base station set. Very basic, but looks really cool. That was given to me by a late friend of mine. And it works. It works. The only thing I did was I lost a fucking microphone off it. Which is a bit sad, but other than that, it does work properly. Yes, that was an awful lot of excitement there with radios and things. I have to calm down for a minute after all that. Yes, that was mesh-tastic. We have 21 watching with 26 thumbs up, which is interesting. Yes, indeed. So, that's weird. Timer has stopped on my live stream at 1 hour, 8 minutes and 12 seconds. I wonder if I'm still on live. Am I still on? I can see myself still moving, so I must still be on. That's weird. Oh, it's just jumped up. There's something weird happening. All the live stream is flying up now. So I think what happened was something froze for me. Because I'm after getting about 10 messages in the live chat just out of nowhere. And it's jumped from 1 hour and 8 minutes to 1:11:28. So, yeah, it froze up my end, not your end. Weird. I'd like to find myself a nice Binatone 5-star in good condition. That was my first and best CB. Jim Gordon says, hi again to y'all. Good to have you, Jim. I was looking at an advert for the Sony ICF EX5 Mark II. Crystal controlled shortwave. Never heard of that one, Jimbo. That's a new one. Rayborn is here. So he's seeing the stupid radios. There's 120 of them, one of them somewhere in Ireland, John Joe. I wonder which one that was he's talking about, because Matt are showing 3. Kev B inquires, is the green thing on the Verdiac a voltmeter? It is indeed, Kev. It's one of the super cheap voltmeters off AliExpress. That's, if you know the one I'm talking about, it's just for mains indication voltage. And it uses a capacitor dropper off the mains input. So what I did was I opened it up and I separated the feed to the cap, so it's constantly live. So instead of coming on at whatever, I think 100 volts or something, they start to work at. It works from 0 to whatever. Yeah, so I converted it from say 2-wire operation to 3-wire operation. Yeah, so it works very well. And they were dirt cheap at the time. I bought a load of them. They're like €2 each. Now, the price of stuff on AliExpress has gone up a little bit since them days. But the price of everything has gone up a little bit since them days. So, you have to stomach it. But no, it works well. It's a little bit slow to the refresh rate. I think it's it's a 1 second refresh rate or something. So it's a little bit slow to catch up. So you have to be careful with the Verdiac when you're turning it up, because you can overshoot the mark easy enough. Rayborn says there's a Sony ICB 2500 sitting on my bench for tomorrow. Oh, the Telstar. Telstar. It's a 1240. Oh, 120. It's obviously. Was this one that you converted and did sexy stuff to? I've kept my one stock. George Donaldson did actually recommend that I put some board in it and put sideband in it and all this kind of shite. But I just kept it original. I've got no interest. To be honest with you, I'm never going to use CB. I have been thinking we're getting well, we have a couple of cars here, but we run a couple of older ones. So I was thinking of putting a few of these CBs into the cars. So if me and the missus are out for the drive in the respective cars, we can be spitballing at one another a bit and acting the maggot. But other than that, not that interested in CB. Good evening. Bit late for your live stream. Been watching Michael Dramfield's latest Sashio video. Well, Michael, you see, you made the mistake of going there to watch that because you could have watched it here. Because we watched it on the Bush TV here earlier on. Some of us did. We're off the head here, Ah, yes, indeed. Kev B says, for a few quid worth it instead of having to hook up a meter. Exactly, Kev. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, and you just open it up because I was looking at the price of the 2-wire compared to the 3-wire with the separate live input. There was like €10 in the difference. So I was like, yeah, I think we'll figure this out pretty easily, which we did. So they use a 1 microfarad capacitor dropper on the meter, and so we just lifted that off the board, brought it out in a separate wire to the mains input, so it stays on the whole time once you switch on. Lovely little Verdiac that. Now, someone paid an awful lot of money for this. And it wasn't quite nicely, it wasn't very nicely finished because the crowd that made it, they put the Verdiac itself in here, but they made no effort to centre the dial. So the dial reads off. I haven't bothered to drill out the rivets and move it. It doesn't matter. So I added the on off. It had no on off switch, obviously either. So very cheaply done. So I added nice toggle on off and the meter. And then I think, yeah, I did. I had a standard 13 amp socket, but I added this universally one, so I can plug anything into it, which works quite well. But 9 times out of 10, this is used with the safe block, which has an independent switch on it as well, which is good. So that's very good. And as you can see, I can wind down to 0 and it stays on. So that's it. Yeah, nice little Variac that, because before that I had a big ridiculous 16 amp one, which was an arsehole of a thing to lift up on the bench. So actually, and what happened, that wasn't the end. One day I was turning it down or up, or turning it one way or the other, and a lot of smoke started pouring out, but I got concerned and switched it off. And the carbon for the tracking actually snapped in half. So I said, feck that. So I gave it to George Donaldson. I don't know if he ever bothered with it or not. He probably didn't. But it was an easy way of getting rid of it. But yeah, I think he was gonna foil up a new carbon for himself. It's midnight here. No, it's not midnight here. It's midnight in Central Europe. It's 11 p.m. here. Says Sadie. Indiana. Jim Simpson says, I'm looking at Verdiacs on Amazon right now. They all seem to be made in China. Not sure if they're good or not. They're probably much about muchness, Jim. This is an argument I've often gotten into with Michael Dranpage. I'll have to try and do Michael's accent. It's hard. Well, John Joe, the Chinese stuff, it's just rubbish. It's pure rubbish, this Chinese stuff. It's made in China, so it breaks. Which I always did interject and say, well, Michael, everything is made in China these days. So, at least when they say it's made in China and you buy it off the Chinese, you're getting it direct. If you buy it off anyone else, you're just buying Chinese stuff through a third party. I've had no serious problem with Chinese stuff. I mean, Chinese modulator, Rocco box is probably made in China. The little multi-component testers for €15 on AliExpress. These I've featured before on the channel. Work really, really well. Very happy with them. I've actually made presents of those to people. Chinese. The soldering iron is Chinese, and it's as good as any mech cal, I'd reckon. Yeah, so China. Bowfangs, Ray Kavanagh's favourite. Chinese. So yeah, it's all made in China. Unless it's vintage. Kev B likes the component testers as well. Yeah, I had the earlier one. Kev probably had one of those too. Remember the earlier one with the little green LCD screen? And it used to come without a cabinet. Well, you could buy them with a little cabinet. But we used to use on loose for years. But I don't know, I think I stood on it here some one day or it fell or something. So I splashed out and bought that. And it's far better. And it also does Zener diodes and triacs and stuff as well. It does Zener diodes. I think it can do Zeners up to 35 volts. Has a little bucking transformer in it as well. So they're really advanced for what they are. And of course, €15, they do a lot for €15. Be careful with the Zener test. Oh dear. Kev obviously put something into the Zener sockets by accident. Yeah. That could happen, alright. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Yeah. It could be worthwhile blocking up the Zener test if you don't use it for that. Like this transistor tester behind me, this does Zener diodes as well, up to 150 volts. This is a bucking transformer as well, the level one. So it does transistors, diodes, and whatnot. That'll never see the light of day again. It's just there because it looks nice. You know. Well, it might actually. The higher voltage Zeners and that it's probably useful for. But no, it's amazing what they've come up with and how technology has moved forward. It's super. I have no idea what's playing on that television. Do you? Let's turn off the light here so we can see it. It's someone trying to move a bus with a bulldozer. Is that a Santa hat on the top shelf? It sure is white sapphire. We're getting ready for Christmas. What? Oh, he shorted the Zener test pens. Oh, it mightn't like that. Oh, there. That's a bit sad, Kev. Being a motor mechanic, some of this stuff is very painful to watch. You have to get the numbers out the spark plugs. Stop. Got swapped and binned. The adapter which they shouldn't be supplying with it. Wonder how many got returned. Probably a few. Yeah, so a few jobs to do on this TV as well. Obviously, you can see it has a blanking fault. The grayscale's out a mile. The focus keeps drifting, but that's pretty simple. I need to clean the focus control. It's tracking a little bit or brushing. And then do up the convergence, and it should be as good as any of these Bush AA23s ever were. Never seen a good one. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how we get on. Totally. Not a whole lot of compression going on there, is there? I don't know. Yeah, probably not. Anyway, I'm gonna get another can for myself. Doo-doo-doo. Bah! Oh, what are little jobs I've done recently? I know people like little jobs that I've done recently. Battery charger. Davenset. Old school. Davenset Senior. Works really well. Instead of having, it has 4 switched current controls. So instead of having 4 taps off the mains transformer, it actually has a dropper resistor. You short out the sections of the dropper with the control, which varies the current. I find this really good for charging batteries. And the only thing that I did to this, apart from opening it up, give it a clean, I added a little mains indicator to it because it inadvertently gets left on quite a lot. So nice bright little old school neon there, which I think sits quite well on that. 6 volt and 12 volt. And sees quite a lot of use around the place, which is good. We'll turn him down, I can't. I watched 2 fellas on YouTube there yesterday trying to start an Austin 830 and they weren't getting a spark. And you know when you're screaming at a television, well, not screaming, but you know when you're saying to yourself on a television, you can't look, because you know they're like, let's change the coil, let's change the distributor, let's build a new Austin 830 because this one doesn't have a spark. And then you find out, then they go an hour through this and you know it's the ignition switch wasn't, because they don't know how to use a multimeter and whatnot. The chat hasn't updated lately. I wonder, am I still live? I am still live. There's no one's talking. It's hard when you don't talk back to me. Nick Kenwood's here though. Nick Kenwood always comes in. Good evening, Nick. Good to see you in the chat. There are 17 of you watching, 18 of you watching with 32 thumbs up. And we're an hour and a half into this super duper live stream. Alan Horst is still live. I'm still live. Alan Horst is still here, which is good. Yeah, so it's been interesting. $20 watching with 33 thumbs up. Jerry BVR said mostly oddball heavy plant stuff. Coming in loud and clear at the Cattery in East Yorkshire. East Yorkshire. I've been thinking about getting a cat myself. Do you know that? Thinking strongly. We had a cat here. You might remember some time ago that there was a cat that started coming into the shed here. called Mr. Whiskers. But sadly, Mr. Whiskers had an accident on the road. Mr. Whiskers is no more. He was my neighbour's cat. But he started to become our cat, as a communal cat, if you like. But yeah, someone didn't slow down for Mr. Whiskers one night. That was the end of him, sadly. Yeah, we had cats in the past. We haven't had one for a few years now. So we also had a dog that passed away last year, sadly, at the age of 12, a little Yorkshire Terrier. Reese Emmett here, good evening. Yeah, poor Mr. Whiskers. Yeah, Mr. Whiskers wasn't even 1 year old. Shame, real shame. Beautiful cat. Anyway, such is life. Would you like me to make the odd video about other stuff, like vintage vehicles and stuff? Oh, I'm sure she'll get over it, Reese. A cat has been a no-no due to the budgies. Yeah, we had a budgie. And then after the budgie, we had a canary. But we also had cats. And cats seem to ignore the budgie. We used to let the budgie out in the house. The cat never went near them. Used to. Yeah, interesting. Budgies are interesting little creatures, especially when you train them how to talk. Say a few words, you know. Indeed. Is this fella got in his bus or whatever it is he's walking around going? Yeah, I wonder. What's he got in his hand there? Carburetor or something? Is it? Let's hold. See what he's saying.
The problem is, but
What's
I have
wrong?
a bigger one. I'm out of time.
Out
I'm
of time.
far away from home, and I got to go back soon.
Yes,
so
sir.
this is my last day to work on this thing. If I
Yes,
don't
sir.
get it going today, it's not going this year.
Oh, sir.
So I took a shortcut. I bought a cheap 4-barrel on Marketplace. Supposedly it came off a running car. He assured me it needed a rebuild because that car ran badly, but it was cheap. I have it in my hand, and hopefully it'll bolt on and get that thing running without fuel spraying everywhere.
Yes,
that
sir.
adapter looks fine for pretty much any 4-barrel. So I'll just knock some of the dirt off. There's already a gas.
Good man, Michael.
Reuse that.
I like that.
And even though this is a completely different make 4-barrel, looks like he's going to fit.
Yes, sir.
Quite honestly, I really don't care how well it runs. I just want it to run for a little bit. Bolts right on. That's good.
The things you do to get jokes going. Michael, are you still in the, I think you said before that you were in the satellite business amongst fixing TVs. Is that right?
Looks like we got pressure. I don't see any fuel spewing out at all. So I'm going to turn off the pump because we should have a full bowl of fuel there. Let's see if it starts and runs on the fuel it has.
Reese says he had a weird one yesterday. Telly with no reception. 90-volt DC from the aerial socket to ground. Can't understand why there's so much power on the cold side of the switch mode power supply. Leakage through isolation caps.
Always keep out of reach of children.
I love that white sapphire. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. How old is the television, Reese? That sounds like a start, doesn't it?
Looks like we got a runner.
Yes, sir.
We built in the air pressure. Brakes are going to be another issue. Let's go look.
V8 petrol in a bus. That's something else.
I'll tell you a good thing. So I wired both the pump and ignition to the ignition switch. We got a full system here. Even though I initially filled the cooling system with pond water, I bought the cheap Walmart antifreeze to add to it. Because after I put this much work into it, I want this engine to be fully protected from freezing. Can't beat the combination of pond water and Walmart for success.
Sure can't.
So far, so good. Now we got to build air pressure.
That's interesting, all right, Reese. I've gotten tickles off stuff like that before. Not full belts, but a lot of that stuff that isn't double insulated, if you take a meter, there is a bit of leakage to earth on them, you know, through the isolation caps.
Oil pressure looks real good. That's something.
Yes, sir.
That looks like cooler. I'm hoping that leak is just a valve on the side of the block to drain it. So I shut it down so I can check that out. Oh. Okay, it's completely missing a plug. And there's one on the other side that's missing too. This one has a valve. So hopefully that was just closed. So an old rusty pipe plug. Wire brush the threads a little bit so it should work fine. And I'm pretty sure rust is an effective thread sealant. So we should have no problems with this. I've got less coolant leaking out of the engine. I also turned up the idle a bit. I have no throttle pedal. So we should be having a high idle now. We're in real good shape here. Better hook up the show. Might be running a little rich.
Strange thing is, someone had bypassed the fuse in the power board with a piece of wire for some reason, but I couldn't find out why. And after putting a proper fuse in, it didn't blow. Must be related somehow. That's interesting. V8 petrol engine in a bus. That's special though, isn't it, lads? Good old Yanks. Can't beat them. That sounds interesting, Reese. I don't know about that, yeah. Michael Dranfield isn't here. Rob's radio channel is picking up the Algerian station on 252 tonight. Good man, Rob. I wouldn't say it's too good now. That big, and I'd say that's the side valve engine as well, wouldn't it be? Dranfield would now. He'd tell you in an act. All I would say is that there does be quite a bit of leakage through the main isolation cap and some of this stuff. You'll notice it with video players and that. Although they're class 2, not class 1, you know, with the dedicated air connected. Because one problem they came across years ago was if you connect TV, video, these are all class 2, that the leakage across the caps and all of these accumulates, and you can get a good tickle off them. But yeah, that's interesting. Very clear where you are. Good stuff, Rob. Combined air leakage, yeah, no, it's a thing, all right. And you used to see it sometimes. You be, you know, when you connect the aerial socket, you'd see a little spark. Would the up height make any difference? Probably not a long wave, Rob, but what I would say is you're up higher than any interference. So that bit would make difference, I would say. Have you got a decent long wire aerial up yet, Rob? I know it was something you were looking at. You got his bus moving anyway. Woodworm is very nasty. I have a bit of a problem with it at the minute, but I'm getting it under control. Most woodworm radios now that I come into possession of, if it's fresh, not the odd little hole that looks like it's been dormant for 50 years is fair enough, but anything that's riddled usually gets put into the fire, unless it's something very rare and special. I have a long wire for shortwave going up the garden. Oh, sounds good, Rob. Yeah. Need to get a loop up soon. Have you got much space where you are, Rob? Manual gearbox in a rear engine bus. Now that's special too. Probably won't mean anything to most of my viewers here. One thing you could, there's two options you have, Rob. If you're on a bit of land, like a couple of acres, one thing you could do is something called a beverage area or beverage antenna. Look that up. Basically, it's a super long wire area, which, we're aiming for half a mile long. Doesn't have to be up high, only has to be the same height as, say, cattle fencer. One end goes into a 300 ohm to 50 ohm balun, which you plug that into your radio. And the very far end of this area has a 300 ohm resistor going to a good ground rod, 10 foot into the ground, right? 300 ohm resistor. That's called a beverage. Now, if you point that beverage, they're very directive, these aerials. If you point that towards, say, America, you may very well, in the early hours of the morning in the winter, pick up many US radio stations on medium wave. The other thing you could do is something called a loop. Now, I know you're talking about loop, but I think the loop that you're speaking about was a small loop tuned. You can do a very, very large loop, say around the circumference of it, like 5-10 acre field. Again, doesn't have to be up high. Fencer wire height again, 3 foot off the ground, more than enough. And just a loop, which comes back this time to a 4-to-1 balun and into your transceiver. You will be amazed at the lack of noise and interference, but how sensitive that would be. from long wave all the way up to 50 megahertz. So there are two things you can do if you have space, which a lot of people don't. But if you have space and they're not intrusive either, it's not like putting up a big huge tower or something. These are two areas that work really, really well at ground level. Yeah, well worth looking up, Rob. Absolutely. My garden is only a quarter of an acre, so I don't have much space, but I was thinking of a double loop for transmitting. Because a loop will work if you get it tuned right, get the length of it right. You can go, say, from top band all the way up to 6 meters. So for amateur radio, I was thinking of putting in a double loop, so like going around the garden twice and then into the ballot. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't go absolutely nuts for the amateur radio. So got other stuff to be doing at the minute. That sounds very interesting, Nick. Medium wave stations till 11 a.m. in the middle of winter using an active magnetic loop. I find, well, a very narrowed down version of that is Radio Caroline here on the east coast of Ireland comes in really well in winter. Pretty much all day, but early hours of the morning, very, very strong. Very strong. To the point where I can drive around in the van in the morning on the way to work. I listen to Radio Caroline in the winter quite happily. At entertainment quality. Good man, Rob. Sounds good. I used to have an interest in medium using with no space these days. Jimbo. Doesn't happen often. They're usually gone by 7 a.m. Any particular reason for the stronger signal in winter? It's due to the skip. So the ionosphere goes up really high in the day. So signal probably skips over or gets lost. But at night time, no, sorry, I'm saying that wrong. In the daytime, the ionosphere comes down low. So the signal bounces only close. Right? Good night, Jerry. But at night, the ionosphere goes up really high. So the signal comes up, bounces once, and comes back down. Does that make sense? Probably not. Hours of darkness, the sun, and so forth. But yeah, that really affects medium wave on the lower shortwave bands. Up to about 60, no, up to about 40 meters is night time, and then at daytime, it's the higher frequency signals. So the propagation is different for different frequencies. But Roberts R404, I didn't get time to restring the Grundig satellite I have. AF117s will need to be done also on R404. You could just try snipping the screen leads first before you change them. I've done that quite a lot and it works quite well. I wouldn't bother zapping them, Rob. I'd just clip the screen lead because the screen lead doesn't do feck all anyway. Right, we've 18 watching with 36 likes, which is pretty good. But my can's nearly empty. It's 11:30 at night, and I'm gonna pull the plug any second. So be aware. Turn that down for a minute. Bush seems to be working reliably well, despite needing to be set up. I put AF127s, I can remember in my Roberts, and I'm listening to at the moment. Yeah, the 127s are a drop-in replacement. All right, I've done that with my my Eddystone EC10, but you can use silicone PMPs as well, which are a lot cheaper. And sometimes you don't even need to rebias them either. So things to look at. Where did I put my mouse? Because if I can't find my mouse, you see, I won't be able to turn you off. Here we are. So Reese M says, good night. Thank you for the chat. Thank you, Reese, for joining me. And thank you, everyone else, for joining me as well. It's been a good bit of fun here. Quiet live stream, but sure, that's no harm either. That's the way we like it. So I'm going to pull the plug. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I'll be quite honest with you. You're probably not going to hear much from me for the next couple of weeks either, as things progress. But we are working on a few projects, and we've had one or two setbacks in the last week or two, which have held things up a little bit. But we're looking to get back on track, and we hope that we'll be making lots more videos in the near future. But as I say, you probably won't hear much from me for the next couple of weeks. But we'll get back on track, get the videos going again, get the subscriber count up, and keep highlighting the vintage TV and radio hobby and interest to people around the country. Okay, thanks very much, everyone. White Sapphire, Jim Simpson, Rob, Alan, Rob, Reese, Jerry BVR, who was here earlier, Kevy B, Dave O'Toole, and Sadie. Thank you all very much. A few more there as well, I'm sure. Ray Bourne, of course. Yes. Patrick Bourne as well. Okay, thank you all very much. And we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks very much. Good night. And good luck.